JC Magic TV. Just welcoming you in. My current situation, I will show you. It's downpouring right now here in this area that I'm at. But otherwise, I was hoping to be home to actually do a merchandise stream to show you some of the Disney merch that I had gotten off of Shop Disney for the 50th anniversary, and I'm hoping that the Halloween merchandise does get in soon. So one of these days I will have the merchandise show and everything. So I do welcome you in. Gonna do something a little different. I know I've been doing trivia, but it's easier because I'm not home right away. Hello, Penguin Master. How are you today? Hopefully you're well. But I'm not going to try to do trivia all the time. Unfortunately, I don't get done with a program that I start at like 4:30 until almost around now, depending on how fast I can get through, unless I go earlier. But since I do work, I'm not able to go earlier to the class unless I would leave work and use time. So right now I'd rather try and do it after work if I can. But we're going to do this pop trivia. They have questions from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. So you guys, as the chat, can choose what year you would like to do, especially if you're the one that answers the question. You can pick whatever. Hello, Catherine Wilby. How are you? This is what my current situation is. I haven't left where I was just because I got to my car and I thought, well, it's almost time to go live. I know Tina is finishing up. So if anybody is in the chat, but right now it's kind of a downpour here. It's kind of like one of those Florida afternoon type of rains because you saw it come in and it was beautiful all day here. So that's pretty much my view right now. I thought about doing just a driving stream until I got to somewhere near my house or whatever, but sometimes it gets kind of sketchy in the rain on the roads that I have to take as far as like the water and everything, so I felt it wouldn't be safe to do that. So I thought I would just stay here in the parking lot of where I'm at and do some trivia for a little bit. We don't have to do everything. Hello, Tracy Taylor. Hi, everyone. Sorry rain came over from Indiana to you. No problem. I'm getting tired of the rain, but it seems like it's all the time. Hello, Stevie Lee. Seems like almost every single day we've gotten rain somewhere in the Pittsburgh area, whether it's the North Hills, South Hills, East or West. I know the one day where I was at work and I drove over to another area and it was soaking wet in that area, but not where I was working. Welcome in, Car Key, Stevie Lee. Thank you for joining. This is the current situation, just so you can see. I was gonna do a drive stream, but kind of like chase that storm type of thing, but it's kind of unsafe to do that because some of the areas that I drive through, it gets kind of sketchy, the way the roads and the trees and everything like that. But we'll do some trivia, and I'll pick the first category. There are 1950s questions, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s. So whoever gets it correct can pick what year they like a question from for the next round. So I'll start off with the 1990s, and then you guys can pick whatever year you like to start off or have a question from. I'll also thank Dean of the Live Place. He does host my channel at theliveplace.com, and I do appreciate that. And he also hosts many other over 100 channels, whether they're Disney centric, cruise centric, RVing community, music community. He does that all. So check out deanoftheliveplace.com. He also has a YouTube channel called The Live Place, and he gives a lot of information. So we'll get started with the 1990s, and then whoever gets the question right can stick with the 90s, or they can pick the 2000s, 80s, 70s, 60s, or 50s. So here we go. What was the name of the handheld digital pet on a key ring that was popular in 1990s? What was the name of the handheld digital pet on a key ring that popular in the 90s? I know I had one of these when it was popular. I'm guessing that is part of the name. So I'm going to see if anybody else can come up with the actual name that's on the card. But I will give you a point, Tracy, because that's what I was thinking, the Tamagotchi. And Stevie Lee got it correct with the Gigapets. So I'll give Tracy and Stevie Lee a point. And Stevie Lee, you can pick the next category. Whether you want to stick with the 90s, go to the 2000s, 80s, 70s, 60s, or 50s. But yeah, they were looking for the Gigapet on the question. 2000s. Okay, we'll pull a card from the 2000s. So I can be able to reach the cards easier. Kind of brand new. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there was the Tamagotchis, and it was like a Gigapet type of thing. So yes. Okay, here we go. What was the name of the spinning top toy which you could customize by adding interchangeable parts? What was the name of the spinning top toy which you could customize by adding interchangeable parts? I know my niece had that. And Tracy Taylor gets it with the Beyblades. Way to go, Tracy Taylor. They are the Beyblades. And I remember my niece in kindergarten and daycare, they would have the arena and all of that stuff. So yes. And what category would you like to go from, Tracy? We have the 2000s, 90s, 60s, 70s, 50s, 80s. Yes, I know. With the Beyblades. Yes, my niece and nephew really loved them. They had the stadium and they would play them at the daycare and everything like that too. 80s. Okay, here we go with the 80s. Which versatile gadget launched in 1983 was marketed as the Pocket Survival Tool? Which versatile gadget launched in 1983 was marketed as the Pocket Survival Tool? I know a couple people that owned that. A couple guys that I knew. Not the Swiss Army knife, but that's a good guess. Which versatile gadget launched in 1983 was marketed as the Pocket Survival Tool? Not the Swiss Army knife, but that's a good guess. I know a lot of guys wore it on their belt and it was in some type of case. Well, it was a multi-tool, and Tracy Taylor gets it with the Leatherman tool. The Leatherman was the name. So Tracy Taylor gets it. It was the Leatherman. And do you want to stick with the 80s or do you want to move on to another category? '90s. Okay, here we go. The '90s. In which children's TV series might you have encountered the evil alien sorceress Rita Repulsa? In which children's TV series might have you encountered the evil alien sorceress Rita Repulsa? In which children's TV series might have you encountered the evil alien sorceress Rita Repulsa? And this was a very popular television show, and then they had popular toys and everything. Not the Smurfs, no. Think of when you have an evil alien sorceress. Their toys were very popular, especially their action figures. I'll read the question one more time if you're playing along on the replay. So I will go ahead and read it again and then I'll give the answer. In which children's TV series might you have encountered the evil alien sorceress Rita Repulsa? Hello, Surf Bum John. Welcome in. Not the Powerpuff Girls, but that's a good guess. Welcome in, John. That is a good guess, though. It's not the Powerpuff Girls, but you're on the kind of close to part of the name. And Catherine Wilby comes up with the answer. It was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Welcome to the board, Catherine. It was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was the Power Rangers. Okay, Catherine Wilby, you can pick the category. 2000s, 1980s, 1990s, the 60s, 50s, or 70s. So you can pick which category you'd like to have a question from. A great job, Catherine. You can pick the 2000s, 90s, 80s, 60s, 50s, or 70s. 60s. Okay, that's the first round for that one. Okay, here we go. Who was the narrator for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which aired on CBS on December 18th, 1966? And John Surfbum gets it with Boris Karloff. Welcome to the board. Thurl Ravencroft. Now it's Boris Karloff, and John got it first. I watched the original Power Rangers on Netflix. Awful acting. Yeah, it was kind of cheesy then. Okay, John, you can pick the next category. We have the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000. And he got the answer correct. The narrator of How the Grinch Stole Christmas was Boris Karloff. Let's go 70s. Okay. Okay. Which famous Italian fashion designer founded his company in 1975? Which famous Italian fashion designer founded his company in 1975? Not Versace. Not Versace, for Versace or Versace. I know a lot of men would wear this type of person. But which famous Italian fashion designer founded his company in 1975? Not Ralph Lauren or Lauren. And Karki comes up with it. It was Giorgio Armani. Giorgio Armani. So welcome to the board, Carol Karki. A lot of men wore the Armani suits. Okay, Karki, you can pick the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, or the 2000s. Your choice. You get to pick the category. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s. 60s. Okay, here we go. What doll created by Danish fisherman and woodcutter Thomas Dahm became one of the biggest toy fads from 1963 through 1965? And I know they were at that time. Well, because my aunts actually had these. What doll created by Danish fisherman and woodcutter Thomas Dahm became one of the biggest toy fads from 1963 through 1965? That's interesting because they actually had a comeback also. I know my aunt had it because when we were kids, we would play with their little setup that they had. Almost gave it away. What doll created by Danish fishermen? And Tracy Taylor gets it with the troll dolls. The troll dolls. My aunts used to have a troll cave, and they'd have the trolls that went along with it. But it was troll dolls. Good job, Tracy. Okay, you can pick the next category. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000. '90s. Okay, here we go. Released in 1992, which film featured two metalhead friends who ran their own local public access TV show and liked it to party on? Released in 1992, which film featured two metalhead friends who ran their own local public access TV show and liked to party on? And Tracy Taylor gets it with Wayne's World. Wayne's World. Good job, Tracy. Okay, pick the next category. Yeah, she's on a roll. 80s. Okay, here we go. 1980s. In which country was there a cyclone leaving 5 million homeless and thousands dead in the 1980s? In which country was there a cyclone leaving 5 million homeless and thousands dead? probably should have picked. I should have read that question before before I did it. It doesn't. Not China. In which country was there a cyclone leaving 5 million homeless and thousands deceased? Not Haiti, but this was in the 1980s. Not Japan or Australia. I would say it's more Asian, but it's more of an Asian well, it's part of the Asian continent, but it isn't China, though. So you have to think of what countries are in and around that area. Not Thailand and not India. And I'm not sure if anybody, I can't give any more clues because I'm not exactly sure without giving it away. Not Singapore. But I'm guessing it's around where India and, Thailand's a little bit south, but where India and Nepal and a lot of those other little countries there. And I'm going to go ahead and give the answer. It was Bangladesh. Bangladesh was the country. I'll go ahead and give another question for the 80s. Who played the unlikeliest of twins in the 1988 buddy film of that name? Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten it either, but it was Bangladesh. But we'll go ahead and give another question. Who played the unlikeliest of twins in the 1988 buddy film of that name? And Karki comes up with the answer, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Good job. I remember that movie. I really liked that when it came out. But it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Karki got it. Okay, Karki, you can pick the category. Neither could I. Okay, 1970s. 1970s. Which model features on the cover of the 1973 David Bowie album, Pinups? Which model features on the cover of the 1973 David Bowie album, Pinups? Not Marilyn Monroe. Not Heather Locklear. This is 1970s. Which model? And Karki gets it again. Which Twiggy? Which Twiggy? Way to go, Karki. It was Twiggy. Okay, you can go ahead and pick the next category. The answer was Twiggy. '70s. Okay, there we go. The TV series Roots, which tells the story of slavery in the United States in the 18th century, centers around which character? Yes, she is. The TV series Roots, which tells the story of slavery in the United States in the 18th century, centers around which character? And Karki comes in with it with Kuta Kinta. And you just beat out Surf Bum on that. Because he was right there behind you. But it was Kunta Kinta. Good job, Karki. Okay, Karki. Next category. Probably the 70s now. The 80s. Okay, here we go. 1980s. Which epic biographical film won 9 Oscars at the 60th Academy Awards? Which epic biographical film won 9 Oscars at the 60th Academy Awards? And it was in the 1980s, so. Which epic biographical film won 9 Oscars at the 60th Academy Awards? And I really can't give a clue because it's been so long since I've seen this one, but I do remember this up for the Academy Awards. Now, if Rob Fuzz or Adam from Adam's Land, since they're big Academy Awards and all those award fans, they might gotten this question. But which epic biographical film won 9 Oscars at the 60th Academy Awards? Yeah, if they actually gave you a year, it would help. And Tracy gets it with The Last Emperor. The Last Emperor. It was The Last Emperor. Good job, Tracy. Okay, Tracy, what category would you like to pick? '80s. Okay. Here we go. Next question. Professional wrestler Terrence Gene Bolla was better known by what ring name? Professional wrestler Terrence Gene Bolla was better known by what ring name? And Karki comes in with it first. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. Good job, Karki. I never knew his real name. So that's new to me there. Okay, next category. You can go ahead and pick Karki. Yeah, I never knew that either. I just known him as Hulk Hogan. Okay, the 70s. 1970s. Here we go. Which disco song written and performed by the Bee Gees was a #1 hit from Saturday Night Fever soundtrack? Which disco song written and performed by the Bee Gees was a #1 hit from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack? And Catherine Wilby gets it with Staying Alive. Way to go, Catherine. Good job. She got right in there with Staying Alive. We watched Saturday Night Fever, all of those ones before. I'm getting my platform shoes on, yes. Good job. You can pick the category, Catherine. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s. 50s. That's the first time we get the 50s. Let's see what questions we got here. Oh, these are good ones. Which craze sold over 25 million units in the first 4 months of 1958? Hello, England, Portugal, William. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. Which craze sold over 25 million units in the first 4 months of 1958? And Karki comes in with it with the hula hoops. The hula hoops. Good job. And Surf Bum. So I'm going to go ahead and give the second place person now points. So Surf Bum, John, and Karki. Okay, Karki, you can pick the category. You're not too late. There's still plenty of questions there. 60s. Okay, here we go. We're going to do category from the 1960s. Who starred as Eliza Doolittle in the 1964 musical film My Fair Lady? Who starred as Eliza Doolittle in the 1964 musical film My Fair Lady? And Catherine Wilby gets it with Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn. Good job, Catherine Wilby. Good job. Okay, Catherine, you can pick the category. You can stay with the 60s. We have the 50s. But well done. Which category would you like? Stuck in the 60s. Okay. Here we go. Next question. Florence Ballard, Mary Wilson, Diana Ross, and Betty McGowan were the original members of which female singing group? Welcome in, Jonathan Chong. Florence Ballard, Mary Wilson, Diana Ross, and Betty McGowan was the original members of which female singing group? And Karki and Tracy Taylor got it with the Supremes. So Tracy and Karki. Okay, Karki, you can pick the next category. The original members of the Spice Girls. That might be in the 90s or 2000 category. The 60s. Karki is staying with the 60s. Who played the role of Laura, the wife of Rob Petrie, on the Dick Van Dyke Show? Who played the role of Laura, the wife of Rob Petrie, on the Dick Van Dyke Show? And John Surfbomb comes in first with Mary Tyler Moore. And Catherine Wilby was second. So John controls the board. It was Mary Tyler Moore. Okay, Stevie Lee, thank you for joining. You got 2 points. Okay, John, you can pick the category. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s. Okay, the 70s. For 600. Okay, here we go. That one's not good. We'll switch cards here. Okay, here we go. Which arcade video game created by Tomohiro Nishikado was released in 1978 and manufactured and sold by Taito in Japan? And it was a popular one, and not Pac-Man, but there was another popular one at that time. And I played this like crazy. I remember getting it for Atari and everything like that. Not Super Mario Brothers. That's a little the 1970s here. Which arcade video game created by Tomohiro Nishikado was released in 1978 and manufactured and sold by Taito in Japan? And Tracy Taylor and Karki got it with Space Invaders. Space Invaders. So, Tracy, you control the categories. It was Space Invaders. I love playing Space Invaders. Pick the category, Tracy. 80s. Going back to the 80s. Okay, here we go. Name the year the Voyager 2 space probe makes its first encounter with Uranus. Prince Andrew marries Sarah Ferguson. The Statue of Liberty reopens to the public after extensive refurbishing. What year was it? Name the year. The Voyager 2 space probe makes its first encounter. And England, Portugal comes up with the answer of 1968. Yeah, I gave you a point for the Space Invaders. But England, Portugal gets it with 1986 and John Serpum got it. If you're talking about the Space Invaders, Karki, yes, you did get a point. But England, Portugal gets the answer correct first. William does. And then Serpum, I believe, was second. Yes. Okay, William, you get the pick. You want the 90s. The 90s. Okay, here we go with the 90s. In Disney's Aladdin, where did Jafar send Aladdin and Abu to retrieve the lamp? In Disney's Aladdin, where did Jafar send Aladdin and Abu to retrieve the lamp? Oh, okay, Corky. Okay, I understand. Jonathan Chong got the correct answer, and I'll give Tracy Taylor a point for the cave. But it was the Cave of Wonders. Welcome in, Russ. Thank you for joining. But Jonathan Chong gets the point. Gets the correct answer. So, Jonathan, you can pick the category. We have the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But welcome in, Russ. So, Jonathan Chong, you can pick what year you'd like to have. The 80s. Okay. Let me switch cards here. Okay, here we go. The best-selling arcade game of all time was launched in Japan in 1980. What game was it? 1680s? No, 1980s. The best-selling arcade game of all time was launched in Japan in 1980. Which game was it? And Tracy and Surfbum get it with Pac-Man. Tracy and Surfbum get it with Pac-Man. That was one of my favorite arcade games too. I liked Pac-Man, and Asteroids was a good one at that time too. Okay, Tracy, you get to pick the category. '80s. Okay, we'll continue on with the '80s. Okay, John Hannibal Smith, H.M. Howling Mad Murdoch, Bosco Elbert, B.A. Baracus, and Templeton Faceman Peck made up which TV gang? And Catherine Wilby comes in first with the A-Team. Way to go, Catherine. The A-Team. I guess everyone is from the 80s. Yeah. So, Catherine Wilby and Tracy Taylor. Okay, Catherine, the A-Gang. Yeah, it was the A-Team. That's one of my mom's favorite shows, the A-Team. She watches all the reruns, too. Okay, you can pick the category, Catherine. The 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Go back to the 60s. Okay, we'll go back. Just got to find the card. Here we go. Name the year. Name the year. The action figure G.I. Joe is launched by Hasbro. The Beatles occupy the Billboard Hot 100 top 5 slots. Nelson Mandela is jailed for life. What year was it? And Surfbum John gets it with 1964. It was 1964. And 1964 was the action figure G.I. Joe was launched by Hasbro. The Beatles occupy the Billboard Hot 100 top 5 slots. Nelson Mandela is jailed for life. And John gets it first. Jonathan Chong comes in second. Well done, John. And you can pick the next category. That's when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, yes. They actually came to Pittsburgh one time for like 20 minutes and did a show. So it was like their first show, I believe, here in Pittsburgh. And it was only 20 minutes long. Okay, the 1970s. Here we go. In 1978, Woody Allen won an Oscar for Best Director for which movie? In 1978, Woody Allen won an Oscar for Best Director for which movie? Ah, that's good, William. And Surfbum John gets it with Annie Hall. Annie Hall. Good job, John. Toy Story. Okay, Surfbum, you can pick the next category. It was on the tip of my fingers. The 80s. We'll go back to the 80s. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh, that was Woody and Tim Allen. Now I get why you did that. And Woody Allen. Okay, here we go. How many lines did Arnold Schwarzenegger have in the film The Terminator, released in 1984? Is it 12, 18, or 25 lines? How many lines does Arnold Schwarzenegger have in the film The Terminator, released in 1984? Is it 12, 18, or 25 lines? And William gets it. William Portugal gets it with 18. 18. Good job, William. And Tracy got second. It was 18 lines. Okay, William Portugal, you can... It's not a tumor. 2000s. We're going to go to the 2000s. Okay, here we go. Actor Robert Downey Jr. plays the role of Tony Stark in which 2008 superhero action movie from the Marvel Comics Studios? And Tracy Taylor and Catherine Wilby get it with Iron Man. Iron Man. So Tracy Taylor and Catherine Wilby. I'm going to read the question again in case somebody's watching the replay. Welcome in, Bob and Kelly. Thank you for joining. But the question was, actor Robert Downey Jr. plays the role of Tony Stark in which 2008 superhero action movie from the Marvel Comics Studios? And it was Iron Man. So good job there. Okay, Tracy, you can pick the category. Welcome in, Bob and Kelly. Thank you for joining. 90s, the 1990s. Okay. Okay, this is Name the Year. Name the year. Mike Powell breaks Bob Beeman's long jump record, which stood for 22 years. Operation Desert Storm begins. A Michigan court bans Dr. Kevorkian from assisting in suicide. What year was it? Try to forget that. So far, I have not seen the correct year. Name the year. Mike Powell breaks Bob Beeman's long jump record, which has stood for 22 years. Operation Desert Storm begins. A Michigan court bans Dr. Kevorkian from assisting suicides in Michigan. And I do see the correct answer. Tracy Taylor gets it with 1991. 1991. And I do remember the Desert Storm there because I was still at work working for Walt Disney World at the time. And I remember one of the gentlemen talking about having to possibly go there. Okay, Tracy, you can pick the category. The 90s. Your brother was in Desert Storm and you were in 3rd grade, Russ. Yeah, I was a cast member at Disney, and I remember one of the gentlemen talking about that. Okay, here we go. The 1990s. Which 90s collectible stuffed animal fad included Legs the Frog, Squealer the Pig, and Chocolate the Moose, among many others. And Karki comes in first with Beanie Babies. With the Beanie Babies. Good job, Karki. And Tracy had gotten the second place there. But it was the Beanie Babies. I know I collected them, and I know one time when McDonald's had them, we almost stopped at like every McDonald's on the way to try to collect them all. Okay, Karki wants the 1970s. And I do have a giant bag of Beanie Babies I should just put on eBay and just get rid of them or sell them at a garage sale. Okay, here we go. Next question. Name the band founded in Chicago by Maurice White in 1970 that grew out of a previous band known as the Salty Peppers. Yeah, the McDonald's ones were nuts, yes. Name the band founded in Chicago by Maurice White in 1970 that grew out of a previous band known as the Salty Peppers. It was not the band Chicago. I worked for Hallmark and sold those things. We called the police. Oh, wow, that's crazy. But I'm not surprised there because I remember going, like walking through the mall and people would be outside the Hallmark store when they would come in. It was not the band Chicago. But that's a good guess. Not the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but that's a good guess also. No, not Eli. Not Air Supply. You guys will probably be kicking yourself. I know I've listened to them in the 70s. But I'll give the question again. REO Speedwagon, no. Name the band founded in Chicago by Maurice White in 1970 that grew out of a previous band known as the Salty Peppers. And I'll give you a clue. EWF. EWF was the initials. I remember the Electric Light Orchestra too. And Jonathan Chong gets it first with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Good job, Jonathan. Earth, Wind, and Fire. You get to pick the category, Jonathan. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Good job. So you want the 90s. Okay, let's see here. Where were we? Okay, here we go. What was the name of Tim Taylor's co-host on Tool Time in the TV sitcom Home Improvement? What was the name of Tim Taylor's co-host on Tool Time in the sitcom Home Improvement? And Karki gets it first with Al. It was Al Borland. Good job, Karki. Al Borland. Okay, Karki, you get to pick the next category. We'll do two more after this. The 60s. Okay. I gotta change cards here real quick. Okay, here we go. The 1960s. Famous for being the origin of hippie counterculture, Haight-Ashbury is a district in which U.S. city? In the 1960s, famous for being the origin of hippie counterculture, Haight-Ashbury is a district in which U.S. city? And Tracy Taylor gets it first, and Bob and Kelly get it second. It is San Francisco. And welcome to the board, Bob and Kelly. So Garrett was a hippie because he's, although he doesn't live in San Francisco, he lives close there. Okay, you can pick the next category, Tracy. The 80s. Okay, here we go. Whose 1984 debut single was Girls Just Want to Have Fun? Whose 1984 debut single was Girls Just Want to Have Fun? That's true, Jonathan. And Tracy Taylor gets it. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, Tracy Taylor and John Surfbum get it first and second. Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, Jonathan, Madonna was in the 80s, but yeah, it was Cyndi Lauper. So Tracy Taylor gets it. Okay, the last question. So pick the category, Tracy. Yes, it was a good car. I keep requesting it on Gonzo's Karaoke. Yeah, it might be a big copyright thing where he has problems there. Okay, so you want the 1990s. Okay, here we go. Next question. Whoopi Goldberg starred as a lounge singer, Dolores Van Cartier, in which 1992 musical comedy film? Whoopi Goldberg starred as a lounge singer, Dolores Van Cartier, in which 1992 musical comedy film? And Tracy Taylor and Jonathan Chong get that with Sister Act. Sister Act. Good job, everyone. I hope you have fun playing the pop culture that gives you all the different years. We'll continue to play that at another time. And I do thank you. I will say Tracy Taylor was our biggest winner with 17 points. Karki Carroll had 10 points. John Surfbum had 8 points. Catherine Wilby had 6 points. Jonathan Chong, 4 points. William England Portugal had 2 points. And Bob and Kelly had 1 point. So great job, everyone. I'm glad you had fun. And thank you for joining. At 7 p.m., I believe the Disney Nerd Herders go live. Also, Pete McDevitt is interviewing Beth Does Disney. Or I know either Beth Does Disney or Beth Goes to Disney. But I have seen her and followed her on YouTube also. Welcome in, Mary, and thank you for joining. So check them out at 7 p.m. 8 p.m. is What in the World with Walter. Also D&G Explorers. And then I know at 9 p.m. They're not actually going live tonight. So Monarch Moments, no Monarch Moments. But the This and That crew, and then sometimes I know Gonzo or VP are playing games and stuff too. And so go check everyone out. And also, if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. Check out all our different videos. We go live. Hit that notification bell because you never know when a surprise stream comes up or just different videos and everything. Okay, they don't do Wednesdays anymore. Okay, Russ. Thank you for letting me know that. So you never know. I may get home and continue this since 8 o'clock, and Monarch Moments isn't going at 9 o'clock. So we'll check that out. And like I said, make sure the notification bell. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment and let me know how many questions you guessed and if you enjoyed the questions. So everyone, have a great night. Thank you for joining. I will see you all in the chats. This is AJC Magic TV. And have a great night. And let the adventures begin. Good night, everyone. I'm glad you had a good time. And yes, the rain did stop. I'll just show you. That's my windshield there. But yeah, the rain did stop. So I'm going to be heading home. You can see the nice sunset in the background there. But have a great night, everyone. And I do thank you. And let the adventures begin. Bye.